So lesson 1-4 has to do with understanding decimal place value. Now, we've already talked about a few of these things, so we're interested in talking about word form today. We're interested in talking about expanded form. And we're also interested in talking about standard form. Now, standard form is just the fancy way of saying what is our number as a number. So we can also call this a number form. And word form is just how you would read it, so we can also call this the number name. Expanded form is the one that deals explicitly with everything's place value, and we'll talk a lot more about expanded form as the lesson goes on. So we'll start today off with a number that looks like this, 2.15. And I read it wrong on purpose because I want us to be able to talk about what this number should look like. Now, when we talk about word form, we want to be able to read a number like this. This is actually going to be read as the left side first, then the decimal, and then the right side. And we talked about this in lesson 1-3. So we're going to read our left side. And on the left side, we just have a 2. So we're going to read that as 2. And then we read decimals as the word and. So we have 2 and then we read the right side. So we read the left side already. Now we read the number on the right side. The only thing we see on the right side is the number 15. So it's going to be 2 and 15. And now we need to think. What is the place value that is the rightmost? It's going to be the 5. And I know that to the right of the decimal place, it goes the tenths and then the hundredths. So we know that here we have 2 and 15 hundredths. So that's our word form or our number name. We'll skip expanded form and talk about the standard form real quick. Did I say that? We'll skip the expanded form and talk about the standard form, the number form. You just write the number again. Because we were already given the number, we can just fill it in. 2 and 15 hundredths. Now, expanded form deals with taking apart the place value and the digit. So what is this digit right here? This digit is a 2 times its place value. To the left of the decimal point, we know the first place value is a 1. So we know this is going to be 2 times 1 because this is the ones place. Plus, the next number is going to be in the decimal side. So we know that to the right of the decimal point, this right here is the tenths place. So we have 1, the digit 1, times the place value of a tenth. So 1 times 1/10. Plus, now we're going to take the next one, the next digit. This is a 5. And we're going to multiply it by its place value. And we know that the place value for this 5 is the hundredth place with a th. So it's going to be 5 times 1/100th. And that's going to be our expanded form for this number. It's going to be 2 times 1 plus 1 times 1/10 plus 5 times 1/100th. And there's going to be a second way that you're going to see this. It's going to be an alternative. Sometimes you won't see the fraction form. Instead, you'll actually just see the decimal form. So you'll see 2 times 1 plus 1 times 1/10, because we know 0.1 is really 1/10, plus 5 times 0.01, because 0.01 is really 1/100th. So now that we had a little bit of a sample, let's go ahead and try it with a bigger number. We're going to go ahead and do 123.405. And I read it wrong on purpose again. Remember, we're going to read, we're interested in doing the word form, the expanded form, and the standard form. With the word form, we want to read this number as if it were an actual number. So 123.405 is not the correct way to read a number. So we're going to read it correctly. We're going to read the left side of the decimal. That's our decimal right there. And we're going to read the left side first. The left side has 3 digits, which I know I can read as 123. So we can write 123. And then we get to the decimal point. So 123 and then the right side of the decimal has 3 digits that we read together, and it's going to be 405. So 123 and 405. And this is going to be 405 something. And we have to think about it. What is this place value that is all the way to the right? Well, let's go ahead and write out our place values. If we know that the decimal goes right here, we know directly to the left of the decimal is always the ones place. We know directly to the left of that is always the tens place. And the left of that will always be the hundreds place. Now, directly to the right of the decimal point will always be the tenths with a th at the end. Directly to the right of that will be the hundredths with a th. So it goes 100, and then you add a ths. Directly to the right of that will be the thousandths place. So we know that this number has to be 123 and 405 thousandths, because that is the last place value that this number touches. So we know our standard form is already done for us. It's 123 and 405 thousandths. Now, let's go ahead and break this number apart. We're going to take the digit starting at the left, this digit first. Let's use a different color here. So we have red for the 1. It's going to be 1 times, what is its place value? 100. So we go ahead and do 100. Because hundreds, not hundredths. Moving on to our next number, our next section, we're going to have the digit 2 times its place value, which is tens. So it's going to be 2 times 10. Plus the next digit is going to be 3. So 3 times its place value, which is ones. So 3 times 1. Followed by the next digit, which is going to be 4. And then multiply that by its place value, which is tenths. So we can write tenths as 1/10, or you can write it as 0.1, which is the same thing as 1/10. Followed by the next digit, which is going to be 0. Since this is a 0, we actually don't need it, but I'm going to write it in there anyway so you guys can see what happens. I'm going to go ahead and circle this in yellow. So we have 0 times its place value, hundredth. So that's 1/100th, or 0.01. And I'm running out of space, so I'm going to have to cram it somewhere. Followed by our final digit. Let me put a plus there. Our final digit is this 5. So we're 5 times its place value, which is the thousandths place. So 1/1000ths, or you could write 0.01. I'm going to put a star here so you can see that this is separate. 0.001. So our final expanded form for this number, 123 and 405 thousandths, is going to be 1 times 100 plus 2 times 10 plus 3 times 1 plus 4 times 1/10 plus 5 times 1,000. Now, the reason I got rid of the 0 times 100th is because 0 times 100th is 0. So we don't actually need that in our expanded form.